Welcome to another episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media. And tonight, join us as we enter the fog and get a little psychologically horrifying as we discuss Silent Hill. I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Bronson.
Again.
Yes, welcome back.
Back by
back.
popular demand.
Back
Right.
again.
That's probably not true.
Bronson's
We asked him
back.
like 5 minutes ago, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah,
Teleport.
thanks for having you
All right,
back.
thanks, bro.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he was standing right next to me after the first one, and then we were like, you want to do it again? And he said, yeah. So here we are.
Dope.
In case you were wondering, we usually record 2 episodes in a night.
No, we don't. We don't do that.
Whoa, whoa,
You
whoa.
are ruining the illusion here.
There's no illusion here.
I became a Silent Hill expert
Yes. Again.
since the last episode.
Love it.
Okay. So, Silent Hill, real quick, came out in 2006. It was directed by Christoph Gans. And it's based off the popular video game by Konami. And that's all I got to say about that.
Like, that's it. That's all
That's
you need
it.
to
when
know.
when did the video game come out?
The first one came out in 99. The
Nice.
second, and so it's based off like the first 3. Like it has elements from the first 3.
Mm-hmm.
First one came out in 99. Second one was 2001, and then 2003 after that. So
And it features Andrea from The Walking Dead as a butch cop.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. And
She's,
she plays a cop pretty well.
she's
in this.
badass. She's badass in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm really mad that leather jacket gets ruined in the beginning because that was fucking dope.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
pissed.
But, you know, she keeps the leather gloves most of the time.
Mm.
Then gets roasted. But whatever.
Oh.
Roasted.
and I think you can look. I think it's like Lilo from Lilo and Stitch is the little girl.
Really?
What?
Maybe I'm thinking of The Ring.
Could be.
I need to look that up.
I thought they were the same actress.
Maybe.
If it is, yeah, I know the girl from The Ring is Lilo. So if it's the same actress,
I think
then
it's
yeah.
like
Oh,
Chase
shit.
David is something. I think that's her name.
And then it has Sean Bean as a character.
Literally a character. He doesn't
Yeah.
do shit the whole movie.
And he doesn't die. It's a betrayal to form for Sean Bean.
Oh, man.
I mean,
Honestly,
maybe I'm a little grateful for this, actually.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, this is Lord of the Rings. I can't remember what else he was in that he dies
Wait,
in.
who did he play in Lord of the Rings?
Boromir.
Boromir.
You
Oh.
uncultured.
Wait. Do people care about Boromir?
Damn, dude.
Whoa.
Oh, my God.
The fuck
Whoa. We're going to get
You
into
can
a
go
fight.
fuck yourself. That's like some of the most character development Lord of the Rings got was Boromir.
Oh, my God.
You fucking
Yo,
uncultured shit.
Yo, I want the ring for the humans. Oh, fuck, there's arrows. Cool
Oh my-
story
He
arc, bro.
was
Whoa.
defending the
Whoa.
hobbits. We can't talk about this right now.
Not
I'll do
to-
this later.
no, see-
I'll beat the shit out of you later, Mur. Anyways, so,
He gets shot, but he gets shot with an arrow by a roided out fucking Uruk-hai. What are you talking about? Anyway, we're moving on to something else. This is so you
All right.
railed us so hard
Well,
with that.
we should talk about his wife. Rhoda Mitchell plays Rose.
Yeah, she annoys me.
She had 86 different dresses for this movie
What the fuck? Why?
because they get different types of blood on them.
I'm so mad. I would have if someone would have came to me in production and been like, "Listen, we need 86 different dresses." I'd be like, "No, you don't. You just need to shoot it in a certain order so we don't have to wash that shit." What the fuck are you doing spending that much money? What the hell?
It's for effect. Her dress gets
CGI it, bro. You did the rest of it. It was awful.
That mentality's wrong. Just CGI it.
Well-
no, it's for like
You got it.
her
We'll
dress
fix it in
gets-
post, bro.
Her dress gets like slowly redder and redder and darker. She
Fair,
also didn't
fair.
like wash her hair throughout production.
Whoa.
So she just looks like worse.
She
as-
does look
as
like shit by the end of the movie.
The adventure goes on.
This movie, like, really, it goes through a lot of things about, like, being a parent. And, like, I don't know, it's just weird and unsettling at times. Like-
Elaborate.
Yeah. Honestly,
explain.
yeah.
Well, like,
Tell us more about how you feel.
I'll tell you how I feel, but it's like you have a child, they sleepwalk. That's an issue. You got to deal with that as a parent. But then your child is writing and talking about a certain place that has terrifying imagery of just people dying in fires. Technically, the coal mines still burn down there.
Love that.
And the fog. People have died in the city. and she is from West Virginia. You have adopted this child. She is your own.
Okay, I will give you that. It's definitely a fear I feel a lot of parents have when it comes to adopting a child.
Right.
Is not knowing where they came from, what sort of experiences they had until they came to that home. And in this case, it was probably like one of the worst scenario situations. You have a daughter who is basically possessed or is a part of some other possessed being.
A half of another?
Yeah. And
The good half of the bad?
a strange, hellish town with a cult.
Yeah, I think that she's like the. I think
Yeah.
she's kind of like in Hereditary, where Paimon is like put into a body. She's kind of in that role.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah. So to go back to the sleepwalking parenting thing, that was like one of my notes initially I had.
Oh, because you're an expert.
Their backyard just goes to an underpass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that underpass goes to a waterfall. Like if your child build a fence. It's a nice house. They're obviously like doing well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
is
really
true.
weirded me out. Maybe just because I live.
That
in,
was
like,
a nice ass
suburbs.
house.
Yeah, maybe it's just because of where I live, but like the fact that their yard just goes to
Yeah, that was wild.
somewhere. Like there's no
Right.
fence, there's no border. It's just like, oh, now we're in the underpass.
Yeah, and she barely like saves her daughter.
Yeah.
She's about to fall off that fucking pass.
Yeah, lock the doors. Like build a fence. Do
Something.
something. Yeah.
For as much as she cares about this child's mental well-being, her physical safety clearly not on the mother's mind during this whole thing.
I don't know,
Not
like
at all.
she also lets her ride in the front seat. How old is
Yeah.
this chick?
How dare she? First of all, there are
No
warnings for a
child seat.
reason.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought of that, because when she's like, Mom, I want to ride in the front seat, and she's like, sure, sweetie. I'm like, wait.
Oh,
and then
and-
the cop walks up, and I thought the cop was going to be like, hey, she can't ride in the front
Honestly,
seat.
I did too. I was like, what's the problem?
Yeah, it's like there's a cop right there. There's an unattended child in the front seat.
Also, that she definitely is like, hey, what's going on? I love that she's like, I don't talk to strangers, and rolls up the window.
She
You're like,
said,
oh.
I don't talk to cops.
Yeah, for real.
Good girl. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh my god.
So the butch cop, who's
Her name is Sybil. Okay.
okay. So Sybil.
Yeah, it
It-
sounds
I-
butch. Honestly,
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, that's a
it
pretty
tracks.
Butch,
It
that's
tracks.
A pretty butch-ass
It tracks.
cop name right
She's
there.
pretty badass, honestly.
Sybil, Officer Sybil, like
Yeah.
you know,
Dang.
Yo, she
civil service.
Ah.
We're done. I just wanted to.
You were waiting. How long did you wait for that joke?
At least 2 minutes. So, I mean, she reacts how I think. I mean, in the games, I believe that the cop that your character meets in the game is someone who's been investigating this town already.
Wasn't it the dude? It was
The dude is going there specifically because his daughter is there. It's almost like word for word what the game's story
gotcha,
was.
okay.
Almost.
It's very similar, especially down to like her waking up in the diner with the jukebox playing.
Mm-hmm.
She meets the cop there in the game.
Oh wow.
Ah,
And
there we go.
It is a male cop though, a little bit different.
Yeah, so they did a little bit of swaps here and there, but the essence of the story is still essentially there.
Her daughter is, sleepwalking and having these nightmares about Silent Hill, a place that is in West Virginia that she has a past in.
Isn't this place also based off of an actual place somewhere in America? I don't know if it's West Virginia, but there is a coal mining town in which their coal mines caught fire and to this day continue to burn, and the ash is so toxic people can't live there and they hallucinate. This is a real place in America.
Yeah.
Like Connecticut or
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
or
That's it.
something, Yeah.
It's in one of those middle states.
Those are coastal states.
No, not.
East Coast.
Oh, you know
Ooh.
what? I don't know my geography.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Clearly.
But yeah,
no one
Yeah.
gives a fuck about the East
Team-
Coast. Anyway,
I give a fuck about the East Coast.
the team that worked on it, you want to know what they're called?
no.
Huh.
Team Silent.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even
All
sure.
right.
Well, I mean, that was just what I think Team Ninja did the Ninja Gaiden game.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's just,
Fuckers.
But you have this daughter. She's seeing this town, and then her drawings are depicting like people burning, witches at the stake,
Right.
churches and schools and stuff. And there's like a deeper story behind it. But you're kind of going with Rose through this mental fog as well as a parenting fog. I mean, I think one of my favorite quotes in the movie is like, it's what the cop says, like, kids see mom as God. I think it's a very interesting line to fucking portray in the film, for sure. Because, I mean, like, when you're a kid, especially if you're adopted, I mean, if you're adopted by someone shitty, I mean, your life is shitty. If you're living your life. If it's shit, it's shit. But you can't really do much to change it when you're a child. So you got to live with what you got. And so it's like interesting to note later in the movie, it will connect to this. But I thought the kid in this movie was like so troubled, not only from like the real mom, but like the fake mothers that come through from the past and in the fog. It's just a real fucked up situation.
Some good child acting.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
for sure. Especially the evil version.
I felt it was like, I guess, yeah, it's good for like a child.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a
Or a
better way to
child.
say it.
There are some parts where I'm like, that was the take you're going with.
But they also decided to give some heavy lines to some of these kids. And I was like, oh, like, all right, we're going to go this route.
Definitely heavy subject.
Yeah, holy shit.
There's that whole scene where she explains the entirety of it with like the flashback, and they have the
See, like
Yep,
that's one
yep.
of like the weaker parts. Where I'm like,
Right.
It's just a slideshow with like a filter over it.
yeah.
Like, all
Yeah,
right,
pretty much.
We got to get the exposition out here. You've reached the final act.
Pretty much.
One thing I wanted to note about this movie is that the shots in this movie are spot on for the game. The game does like
It does the same camera
the
movements that
same
you see in the
camera
video
angles.
game.
There was a
Yeah.
lot of care in the making of this movie to make it feel like the video game.
Yeah. It's that over-the-shoulder look.
Yeah, and there was even some shots where the camera stays in one place
Yeah.
and the character's moving across
Yeah.
as if they were moving across the screen.
Yeah, like
I did
it's a lot of like
appreciate those.
fixed angles, like there was in the game. Yeah.
Like when she's going through that alleyway with all those weird babies. And God,
that's, yeah.
oh,
Oh, my God.
and they all like fall on top of each other. They're screeching. It's just the shots in there, like the cinematography is A1 for that.
The alarm that goes off is still very creepy to me, even like so many years later watching it,
I
because
would-
it's
ooh.
like that's like a legit alarm that you hear like on a military base.
Yeah, it's like the air raid. I think
Yeah.
like, it's like, oh, we're about to get bombed.
Yeah, exactly.
Something, yeah.
Isn't it also the same as the tornado warning one?
I think so. Yeah, it should.
Oh,
It's probably
man.
very close.
Hearing
Yeah.
that shit is surreal. I remember
Yeah.
I was doing some traveling a few years ago, going through the Midwest where they have,
Oh, God.
actual weather, unlike here in
They
sunny
gotta deal
South
with fucking
California.
tornadoes and shit.
But they'll do tornado warning tests on occasion to make sure their alarms work. So I'm
Yeah.
just out here, chilling, minding my own business. It's a clear,
Fuck.
sunny day. And then I hear this siren blaring in the distance. I'm like, holy shit, are we about to get
It's like, all
bombed?
right,
Right.
please say test. Please say
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, I felt like the movie had a really strong like metaphorical analogy that they were going with as far as her entering into the Silent Hill area, which was like easily applicable to like somebody just going into hell or going into some weird purgatory where they have to deal with something. And in this case, she's like very much dealing with her own internal problems, like being a mother, but also like those decisions you sort of have to make along the way of like, what are you going to do this or that? And you're going to be considered like good or evil for it.
Right. It was also a very good call to religion in general.
Yeah,
and
like
how
the
people
morality
act
of
in
it.
regards to their faith, and how people will do absolutely terrible, wicked, and evil things in the name of whatever faith they believe in.
They love purifying by fire. That is like the
Yeah.
thing people love to do.
It's called Manifest Destiny.
Oh my God.
Bruh.
Horrible. Horrible.
Ugh.
Jesus.
I will
Holy
say
shit.
it did bother me that they still had the street sign for Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Because she gets pulled over and she's like, oh, it's right there. I'm like, you don't want anyone going here. Just switch out the sign.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like it's been like a they're trying to keep this like hidden
Yeah.
or not, or like just under
Wraps.
yeah, under wraps. And they're like, well, go remove that sign. It seems like it's the only sign that points to
True.
this town.
Right. And when she finally enters this town, I mean, it's covered in soot and fog that's just so heavy. And it is prevalent in the games, but they really lay it on there. And it has to do with like the unknown. It's very scary in there. And the first time you hear the alarm, it will probably shake you.
That's such a great scene though, because she literally goes down the staircase and it becomes darker as
Right,
she
at
gets
the
down
top.
there. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is great. She's like descending into some evil shit.
Right. And that's the thing. There's like 3 different worlds within this. There's
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
the fog world. There is the reality world where the husband is trying to figure out where the fuck his kid and his wife are. And then there's the fucking, I guess you could say hell, but the Silent Hill version of what happened, which we later learn is from one of the
Right.
children.
Yeah.
And it's like, the dynamic when you hear the siren and the light goes off, you know shit's going down.
True. Also, the violence in the movie is used at certain moments, and it's jarring every single time.
yeah.
Because you're just like, oh fuck, this guy just got his skin ripped off. Here we
Yeah,
go.
see, usually
That kill's always stuck with me with the girl like just ripping her clothes off and then ripping her scalp and like flinging it at the door.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, oh my god.
Usually I'm not a big fan of gore in movies, but I feel like this movie used gore appropriately. It wasn't overkill, and when it did happen, it was very striking and purposeful.
Also, that lady gets sawed in half with barbed wire.
Oh,
That
Through
was
her cooch.
amazing.
You're like, oh my god.
yeah, that was nuts.
It's just like saws straight through and then just rips her in half, and you're like, oh, all right.
There's like a certain weird connection with all these people in Silent Hill because they're kind of trapped in this fog world and always going into this darkness. The church is the only thing that saves them, though.
Yeah,
Like,
that
quote
was
unquote,
quote unquote
saves them.
protects them. You know.
I think the evil version of the girl says it, where she's like, their blind faith like protects them.
Yeah.
And protects them like from getting. She has to like go into the woman to even get into the space. And that I can't believe she gets stabbed though. Like that woman just comes out and stabs her straight in the heart. I was like, oh shit. And then when she drops it, she's like, hey, she had to be fucking killed. I had to do it. And everyone's like, yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
Okay, was I the only one that thought that was like Sigourney Weaver at one point? I was like, is that fucking?
It did kind of look like
Is that Sigourney Weaver? I was like, no. Oh no, it's
that
like
would have been great.
it's
if it was
discount
her.
Sigourney Weaver. It's dollar store Sigourney Weaver.
They had like the tallest dude in that movie.
I wanted to talk about this for the pyramid head, right?
Yo, why is he so ripped though?
Yo, because he'd be swinging that big ass fucking sword.
I know.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
he's got to swing that shit around.
It's just he has his own personal gym with just that sword.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's doing presses with it. You know, he's got some lunges going on with the sword. He's just really getting all the muscle groups.
What?
I want to know what gym he goes
What
to.
is he supposed to represent though?
All right, so
Do you know?
Yeah, hit us with the
That-
representation.
that brings us into the symbolism of all the creatures
Right.
except Pyramid Head.
Oh
So-
yeah, that's
So every creature in this movie represents something that has to do with Alessa, mainly with Alessa, except Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head's role in the games represents the main character's James. His name's James. It's like it's his guilt and his like desire to feel punishment of some sort.
Oh, gotcha.
And so that's why it's always like slowly chasing him and it's so destructive. But in here, it doesn't really represent anything. It's just there.
They just wanted to show you the character.
Pyramid Head is the one creature that's in this movie cause Silent Hill.
Yeah. All right.
Whereas like even like that one arm, the no arm thing that like spits on Andrea.
Yeah, with
or-
like the acid blood.
yeah.
Yeah. Holy
Like
shit.
even that represents how Alessa feels when it shows her in like the deathbed at the very end. How
Right.
She's all like wrapped up in, I don't know, in like that mummy pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the creature loosely represents that. And like the gray children that like are climbing all over Rose and like the first time it goes that hell world. Like that's supposed to represent the classmates of Alessa. Yeah.
I do gotta say
Oh.
though, I didn't like the design of bringing her up in the bed.
Yeah.
Just like wrap her in barbed wire and then bring her up like that.
Yeah,
don't
no,
don't
like-
have the whole bed frame.
Also, she's looked kind of like cakey or I don't
Yeah.
know, she looked
Yeah.
It was weird.
and
Yeah, you could have totally done like something a little more badass if you're gonna have barbed wire as the main
Just
weapon.
have her as her burn form. That
Also
showed her-
that too.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, don't
Or-
even cover her up.
Or don't even show the face. Just show like the little burn tent that they made for her.
Mm.
There's like a flying little tent.
Yeah, then it's just a flying tent.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. Like her
Yeah.
bed being held
Yeah,
up.
it was
and
weird.
It's like a weird, like
Yeah.
fleshy version of her. Should have just been like
Do-
her burned corpse.
Do the nurses represent anything?
They do.
Lust. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just
so,
guessing.
okay.
Just
No.
because they have titties.
You are partially correct. So there
Ah.
are nurses in the first one, and it
Yeah.
represents Alessa's time in the hospital. But they don't look like the sexy version. They look more like the one that had no eyes, like with the
Yeah.
old maid outfit.
Yeah.
The sexy nurses show up in Silent Hill 2, where the main character, his wife has terminal illness, and obviously they weren't like having sex because of that. So the nurses represent one, her illness, and two, like his sexual frustration. That's why they look the way they do. So,
Damn.
Well, shit.
so yeah, there are nurses in the first one, and I'm sure in the movie it's supposed to just reflect her time in the hospital.
Right.
But yeah, there's no reason for them to look the way they do.
Do the bugs represent anything?
They do.
Oh shit. Okay.
I meant it when I said every creature. So
Oh,
in the
man.
game, in Silent Hill 1, they represent Alessa's hate for insects. It's pretty
Okay.
simple. But in the
I feel
movie, the director has said that they are the memories of everyone else that's died in Silent Hill, and they're trapped there as like punishment. Also,
Shit.
they have a connection with the janitor, which is like my favorite creature design in the movie. He's the guy. First, he's found in like the stall, like all strung up with barbed wire.
Oh.
It's like the second time I think the Hell World shows up.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
comes crawling out. Well, I guess we'll cover him in a second. He comes crawling out, and it shows the creepers. I guess we have to talk about the janitor first.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the janitor
Sexually assaulted.
Sexually assaulted
Yeah.
Alessa. Because of that, he got like extra punishment. She's all strapped up. He's all strapped up in the stall. And when he gets released in the Hell version, everything he touches gets infected.
Ooh.
So that's like an STD
Oh shit.
metaphor.
Remember that time we talked about trauma?
Yeah.
Which one?
Trauma.
Yeah, I was like, which
remember that time
time?
we talked about trauma? It was in our Nick Land one. We have the
yes.
times of that trauma is not something you experience in one situation. It's something that pervades and continues.
Right.
So I wonder if that's sort of like another representation, because it's a sexual assault representation. So I imagine that like that memory comes back and like infects everything else around it.
Yeah.
sort
I would
of
say
idea.
that's pretty much spot on for that.
Also, I mean, like, she is a child. She got untainted by a person unwillingly.
Yeah. Yeah, it focuses on the fact, and even shows his hand. Everything he touches gets infected
Ooh.
and like gets even worse, even for like that Hell World.
Yeah.
And according to the director, the scene where Pyramid Head stabs into the door,
That's
he opens it up, and then all the bugs crawl in. That is like a assault metaphor.
That's what I was thinking when I saw that.
So the bugs, yeah.
I was like, this is very phallic looking.
I
Yeah,
know his
and
giant sword.
Yonic and phallic at the same time, so we're doing it. That's what's going on.
So yeah, the bugs, in addition to representing the memories of those who have died, are also a bodily fluid like metaphor. Or
I think what fucks me up the most about this movie is having these three separate worlds, and when they like overlap, like when Rose is in the school and she's like walking the same way that her husband is while he's trying to find Rose and his daughter, and he's like, I just smelled her perfume, I just felt her here. Like, it fucks me up because like they're in the same fucking area but just in different zones, and they can't get to one another.
That was something I was wondering if maybe the game explained it more, but how it is possible for these different realities to exist superimposed, and how one enters it and one doesn't. Because they both came into the town the same way. So it wasn't that, but for some reason Rose was in the alternate dimension, whereas her husband was in the quote-unquote reality dimension.
So sometimes in our real world, people will say things like the veil is thin in this area, or there's something like things are able to pass through from supernatural areas. So this town, Silent Hill, might be set on like a ley line or something along those lines that allows those entities to and people to go to that area if they like fall into it, essentially. And that's what it looks like to me anyway. That's how I would explain it.
So it's like there's a specific point, almost like a vortex, that if you pass through it, then you enter into that dimension.
And it's not something that's like tangible either. It's not something you can like immediately, you're just gonna fall into it.
It might also be sort of like on a timer, I would guess, because you know how the nightmare dimension comes around during a certain time and you hear the siren to give you warning. Is it the same with like the alternate dimension that Rose is in? Is that if she passes through at a certain time or in a certain existence, like say she was obviously really stressed out and anxious when she entered the area, so maybe that is what caused her to enter into that dimension.
There is, like, when Rose enters, she is straying from the path and trying not to run over the Alessa that's there. And I believe Alessa says in the movie, like later on, that I brought you here because you had to bring the other half to complete like the cycle or
Yeah,
whatever. it
there's
is.
also a line from
Ah.
the homeless woman that Rose meets that ends up being Alessa's mother.
Yeah.
When they first interact, she says like, "Oh, the dark one decides like who comes and goes."
Oh shit.
Why that
Ah.
allows Sybil to show up? I don't know, but yeah, it's also I assume why they're able to leave because Alessa has found her
Other half.
and then it's like, all right, now we can leave.
And they've made peace after they get their revenge.
Yeah.
Finally, on the people that
But yeah, there is like kind of
fuck
like
her
a
up.
I guess not a throwaway line, but yeah, it's a quick line referring to the dark one allowing or being able to
that's
let
true.
people in and out.
Yeah, and I think what really fucks you up is the ending of the movie too, because the first time I saw it, I was just like, "Oh, did they die in the car crash?" That's what I thought when I first fucking saw it.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's an interesting thing.
I was like,
Could be
"Holy
that they
shit.
died in the car crash.
Are they
then.
stuck in purgatory?"
Yeah, exactly. They had to go through Silent Hill to see whether they were going to go to hell or stay stuck in purgatory or something else.
I mean, Silent Hill and how it is described and whatnot, really, like some parts of it seem very limbo-y.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking like reference like Dante's Inferno or something like
Don't
that.
they? Doesn't she even say that something about this limbo? Like, there's a line that she tells the religious people where she's like, "You're the ones who decided to be like stuck in this limbo." Like she
Yeah.
even references the place that she's in as
Yeah,
that.
I mean, so it makes sense. This would be a
Yeah.
perfect setup for like a purgatory metaphor
Yeah.
as well, or
Yeah.
just it literally being that.
Because in a lot of cases, I feel like people who are in purgatory are people that have unfinished business, which in a lot of
Right.
cases is where ghosts and stuff
they
got to
figure out what they're gonna do.
Right, and so the people in this religious cult may have actually died, but they're bound to the area by their unfinished business of carrying out whatever sort of cultish deeds.
I
that
figured
have
they were
to.
just stuck there because they decided to burn a kid alive, and they were like, "You need to figure out your morals before we send
Yeah.
you somewhere."
that too.
You know, hell doesn't sound very good for you, so we'll just do purgatory and we'll see how you figure it out there. Burning kids, not necessarily hell worthy here, but
Right.
Oh man, watching
and
the
then
cop.
Rose enters because has
Oh, yeah,
unfinished
yeah.
business of trying to figure out her child's backstory and find a solution to their psychological issues, and the cop is just trying to do their job.
I mean, she
They
probably
get stuck
she
there.
probably has like unresolved feelings about the first time she went there when the
Yeah.
kid got thrown down the shaft and like she had to find him and everything. So it could be just some
Yeah, it's like,
trauma that she has to
Yeah.
revisit.
That's also like her moment of like redemption.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good
Even
redemption
though
moment.
Her sacrifice is like
in vain.
No,
not in
well,
vain.
It's also just like pointless.
Yeah,
That
yeah, it
scene
really
that bothered
was.
Me
Yeah.
is, like when they're cornered and she pulls out her gun, which they
She
had
could have
shown
just
is
gone with
empty.
her.
And it's like just get in the
Yeah, you
elevator
gotta- yeah, just
with
go
Rose.
there.
They think you have a loaded gun. Just get in and pull the pipe out. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. I felt the same way.
the self-sacrifice wasn't really needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it's just there to show us that this is how they burn people.
Yeah, they
Right.
they wrote her out and then they had to show that. That was rough though. Watching her get
Yeah.
burnt alive was
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Yeah, like the fire doesn't even like go onto the ladder. It just from the heat itself.
Yeah,
it
she
Yeah,
burns
that's
her.
actually like probably one of the most brutal ways to kill somebody. Because I
for
feel like
real.
if you were just to straight up light them on fire, it'd be a pretty quick death.
Yeah.
But holding them over the fire, they're gonna burn and feel that heat
Yeah,
for
and
a
it
long
shows,
time
like,
before
her-
they
Yeah, she
actually
gets
catch
blistered
fire.
and everything.
Yeah,
first.
Yeah,
so it's
bubbling.
Really well done.
Like, have you ever held your hand over like a flame?
You
from,
can
like,
do
a
it like over a
candle?
lighter. And it'd
That
be
shit fucking
terrible.
hurts. Imagine a bonfire and holding your
Yeah.
whole body over it.
Yeah, she also says like you guys are like killing an innocent fucking kid. You're like you guys do this. You guys kill innocent fucking children. Like look at yourselves.
It was really strong rope though.
Apparently, yeah. Real shit. Yeah, that shit held her up. I thought
That-
she was gonna
That's
fall
one
in.
thing that's like it shows her like after like just completely charred and black. I'm like, and the wood frame and the
Yeah.
rope held up.
Who knows? But they were ready to burn a child.
This just makes me think of like the witch hunts that were really
Oh,
common
totally.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Considering
Well, they
too,
called
that,
her a
like,
witch.
Yeah, but also considering that the main characters in this movie are all female.
True.
Yeah, there's a very
Yes.
limited male cast in this. I think there's like 2 dudes.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, that was really just supposed to be it. Just all like a mainly female cast, and then the studio or someone was like, "Oh, we need males or something."
Annoying.
So that's why like Sean Bean and
The other detective.
he's Tig from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, for real.
That's all I
I
that's all
cannot
know him
unsee
as.
him
Yeah.
as that character. Agreed.
That's why they just exist. They're
Yeah.
just there.
Well, the thing is, this investigator or detective, he knows what the fuck's gone
Right.
on in Silent Hill, and it's crazy because he's fucking covering something up, and like Sean Bean's character knows too, and he's going to he's willing to go through all the lengths to fucking figure out what's going on with his daughter. I mean, he breaks and enters, goes to a fucking orphanage. Tell me who the fuck this is, you know? Like,
And it's like a classical orphanage too. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
the nun and
Yeah.
maybe not nun, but yeah. It's,
you know, lights out, no talking after lights out.
and he's just there to like shake a sister and be like, tell me what you know.
He legit
Like,
shakes her, which is hilarious to me. I was
He's like, I'll get you for fucking assault, dude.
I thought he was gonna get shot. Not gonna lie.
They-
I thought he was gonna die in this movie.
They do show in that flashback with the filter over it that like that guy was there to pull out Alessa in the fire.
Right. Yeah. That's why his hands are burned and he wears
Yeah.
the black gloves. It was-
symbolism.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, I know. I was like wondering. I'm like, you trying to get like a savior sort of complex going here? Is this Jesus Christ? But it didn't go that far.
Is this Jesus
Right.
Christ?
Just like, yeah, go ahead.
One thing, does that add up in the timeline though?
I don't think it does.
I think he talks about everything happened like 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm like, how old are you?
Yeah, and it's like you're
wouldn't
pretty young at this
wouldn't
point,
you be
dude.
like 50, 60 at this
Yeah.
point?
Wait, you said your dad died in that fire.
Yeah.
Also that, like,
wasn't
what?
your dad's hands, you know?
Yeah,
No,
so,
that was one thing that I'm like, and
agreed.
it's probably just another example of how these characters are just thrown in. I'm like,
Yeah.
this doesn't add up with what you were saying in your last scene.
Bronson, you're pretty tall. How tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
Woo.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Thank
You are
So-
not. No, I'm just.
so,
Looks up.
You are not.
so the guy that played Pyramid Head, don't know his name, but found out that on set he wore 15-inch heels to get to like almost 7 feet tall.
Oh,
Nice.
those are rookie numbers.
Right.
Look at those heels.
Yeah.
50.
Right.
Wait, so was he just wearing platforms?
Yeah.
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 That's
He's
great.
got
It's
that
like,
like
there's no way you can have a 15-inch heel. Your foot isn't even that big.
Yeah, right?
But it's extra platform. That makes sense.
Right. And they're basically still to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for real.
I also know that all the creatures were performed by dancers because they could do those crazy ass movements. And
Makes sense.
I mean, you know more about this than I do. Can you like explain a little for
I mean,
people
I
who
was
don't
just
know?
thinking back to when we were talking about Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because the
movement.
woman that played the cyborg AI person, she was a ballet dancer because she could control very specific muscles in her body and create these interesting, intricate movements. But I could definitely see that, especially for the nurses, because they had this certain like tick in the way that they would walk, which is very unusual. And that's why it's so unsettling to see these things on
Yeah, for real.
movies. Like, just think about The Ring. How Samara is walking in like a back bend down the stairs. Now, seeing
my
that
God,
normally
yeah,
is
for
pretty
real.
fucking creepy, but I see people in back bends all the time as a dancer. You know, it's kind
Right.
of common. But it's an unusual movement that people wouldn't do normally. So it's pretty unsettling to see in certain settings.
It's so cool too because they react to the light and then she has to turn it off and you could hear them chittering.
Yeah,
And then
for
finally,
real.
like, that was the thing. I was like, oh, can you just touch these things and they won't hurt you? No.
Yeah,
They're still
very
active.
dangerous.
But that's the thing when they're going through the fight, not the fight, but you know, the fucking violence.
yeah,
and
she
you
has
see
to
them-
she has to make her way through.
They're stabbing each other. It looks so like
That was a good
scary.
scene. Yeah, that was a really good scene. It brings up the tension while you're watching it because you're like, oh shit, because they're moving towards her and she doesn't know what to do at first. And then she turns off the light and she's like, okay, all right, and then she figures out how to do it.
She gets smarter. She turns the light
Yeah.
on and just leaves it. Just fuck it.
Also, a nice moment for her to have like a trial. Like she has to go through some challenges to get to where she's gonna go, and that's one of them.
The ultimate trial for me would be the directions of the hospital.
Yeah,
same.
literally.
Oh.
She's going like left, right, and I'm like, I'd just be.
I
dead.
would have
Like-
been dead. I cannot remember shit like that.
All I was thinking was like, do you have to remember this on the way back? Oh shit, you
yes,
do.
yes, you
Oh.
do.
Just got to reverse everything.
I'm just gonna hope the game is over by the time I get down. there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I
Right.
will-
Yeah.
I will not make it back.
Is there one door that just leads out?
Yeah.
Thanks. There's an exit. There's a
Yeah,
back
it's like-
door.
it's every dungeon in an RPG.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
oh, you go through all this way, and then you beat the boss. There's just a ladder.
Yeah. Straight up.
Thanks, guy.
Thanks, guy. I love that. That's pretty
Yeah.
much
And
it.
the boss is God, also your dad. No, I'm just kidding.
I love jokes like that where it's like, yeah, man, go collect some berries. Now I want you to kill God as the next mission. You're
Are
like,
you talking about Genshin Impact?
exactly.
Talk about any JRPG ever.
Yes, exactly. That's
I'm
hilarious.
looking at you.
And I was thinking of like Persona 5, where you
Oh,
shoot God in
fucking
the
shit
face.
for real.
Like, all right, go on a date with this high school girl.
God.
All right, at the end of the game, you're shooting God in the face.
Perfect.
Love it. We call
I got-
this balance.
I gotta say, the set design on this movie is fucking
Still looks
phenomenal.
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
Even the CGI doesn't look like it's awful.
oh, Mitch has something to say about that. But the dirt in this fucking movie, yeah, it's some good fucking dirt, man.
That's some dirty dirt.
I mean, okay, these burnt out buildings look like they're fucking burnt out.
Yeah,
that's all I
that's-
gotta fucking
that's
say.
fair, yeah.
So I give points for that.
You didn't like the CGI?
Let's talk
What
about the
happened?
CGI, baby.
There's some parts where the CGI looks good, but in the very opening, I was like, oh no. I was like,
That's fair. The
no.
opening was kind of rough.
Yeah, like especially when she's on like the court where all of the little like crazy like baby things are all twisting around and chasing after her and stuff. And I was just kind of like, these are so obviously CGI.
Right? She's just running in an empty room.
Could you not have just had like a bunch of creepy looking dudes grab at her or something? Or I don't know. I felt like it was a little lackluster there, but then the rest of the movie it brightened up. So maybe I'm being a little bit too mean when I'm thinking about it.
No, stand your ground. Be a critic.
Yeah. Hey, the fog looked great.
It's like, did you mean the ash?
No,
Oh yeah, the ass.
Yo, these dust particles.
I definitely mean because like right before that, she comes across that guy that's just like barbed wire
Yeah,
up on
just
the
cut
fence,
in half.
and that's like it's all practical and it looks great.
Yeah, that's
and she
true.
turns around, yeah, it's just like this gray screaming like CGI thing.
I really did like the parts of like, I mean, even like the janitor. That's the one she grabs the keys out of his mouth in the dorsal. That thing was fucking creepy.
Yeah.
that creature actually like and that was not CGI either. That was like
Yeah.
that was like
some good
like a
practical effects.
contortionist who like strapped a piece of wood to his back and then crawled around on it. It
Now-
was pretty awesome.
These transition effects, though, from like the daytime to the fucking hell world. Now that is some good stuff right there. Honestly, it's like it's faithful to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've ever played the game, it's a lot of puzzles and it's a lot of fucking trying to run away from shit. I think my favorite part, it's so little, but it's when the birds come out, because the birds, they protect people. They are basically the sign that the evil is coming. So that's why they carry them in cages. So when the birds are squawking, you better get the fuck out.
What kind of birds
I
are
think I
they?
remember actually hearing about this. It was a common practice among people who were mining.
Yeah.
Is if they would go into a certain spot in the caves where there was little oxygen or there was some sort of weird gas, they would keep birds in cages with them. And the birds are very sensitive, obviously. And so if there wasn't enough air for them to breathe or if there's a weird gas, they would die. Or they would pass out before the people would. So they would observe the bird. If the bird was passed out, then they're like, okay, we can't go this way. So they go back and try another route.
Yeah, they'd also sometimes like release them into the cave.
Yeah.
And if they don't come back, it's like, oh, well, we're not going in there.
We're not going in that one.
Yeah.
That's so shitty, but it works.
Well, this raises the ultimate question, though. Who fit?
Would you fuck Pyramid? I mean,
Whoa.
sorry. Oh, wait, no, we're not going here? Okay.
Hey.
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Marry, fuck, kill. Pyramid Head, janitor, nurse.
Oh, no.
Yo, I want to marry the pyramid head. Those arms.
Oh,
Those
no,
arms,
I'd fuck
though.
him all the
Oh,
way.
my gosh.
We just fuck him. We ain't doing nothing else.
The Pyramid Head stays on.
Like
Yes.
he's like looking at his phone. Am I gonna get a text back?
No, I'd ghost him after
Pull
that.
out your great knife.
Oh, my God.
Now here's my question: who the fuck ripped this fat ass vape at Silent Hill?
Shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
Get out. We'll leave right
All
now.
right, you're kicked off the podcast. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's all
We're
good.
replacing you.
Oh,
Now's my moment.
Bronson.
Yeah, Bronson's taking over. Sorry.
yo, what up, cat?
Oh, so fun fact: we have a cat named Bronson. We also have a person named Bronson
No,
here.
we're the same being.
Yes.
It's been a long hour,
yeah.
but I'm humanoid and I have complaints.
He's transcendent. And I have complaints.
Okay. Do you guys have any favorite scenes from this movie? Like a favorite scene for you for it?
I think one of my favorite scenes was when the cop and Rose are stuck in that one room and Pyramid Head is stabbing the door, and then they transition from the hell world into the regular alternate world. And I think it was really cool to see all of the grime and stuff dissolve and just disappear, and it turns back into the quote-unquote normal setup. Because, I don't know, there's something really satisfying about that. Because obviously the place is very different when it's in the hellish world, but you don't necessarily see the direct transition from normal world to hell world.
Yeah.
But in this case, you saw the transition, so there is an actual other layer of existence that's being placed on this area.
I love the cop's reaction. Like, did you fucking see that?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
I'm
bruh,
not like the cop's like, I've seen some shit, but I don't know. Like,
I ain't seen this before.
yeah,
These are some wild mushrooms. Shit.
yeah.
Yeah, my favorite scene is when the janitor comes out of the stall. Like he's just slowly crawling across. He's like flickering his tongue, and then like he does he just does like a really horrific scream as like it just seems like all of the hell stuff is coming out of that room specifically, and just there's one shot of him just screaming, and all the little creeper bugs are coming out, and it's always stuck with me from that movie.
Right.
You guys took all the ones I was gonna say. So, but yeah, definitely like the door with the sword in it, really freaky and like a very tense moment. And then the janitor is just so well designed and looks so good, and just it freaks me the fuck out. But I did want to mention when she meets the woman who's looking for her child and like desperately wants her. That's supposed to be her mom, right?
Yeah.
Alessa's mom,
So something I wanted to say earlier, but we got ahead of it a little bit, was Mur brought up the idea that like all children view their mothers as God, like mom is God. So it made it really interesting to look at that character that she meets as sort of like a lost little god that has no followers anymore, and it's like desperately trying to get them back so that she can feel relevant again,
right,
or something along those lines. I don't know. It's an interesting lens.
No, that character is definitely interesting, especially because she didn't fear the hell world that came about. When all the people were scrambling to get into the church, she was like, they're the deceivers. They're wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Like, I embrace the darkness.
Yeah. Well, she's also like immune to it because of because of who she is.
Yeah, and she also understood where the darkness came from in the first place, that it was indeed the cult church place that brought about this hell world by burning this child alive.
Right.
But yeah, being able to just go like, whatever. It's an alarm. It'll go away in a second. She just doesn't care.
This is like 20-minute intervals, you know?
I love a good revenge scene. So seeing that lady get sawed in half.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Great. I was like, yes, finally, this woman is dead.
And you see how bad they fucking treated her. I mean, like, they tortured this child.
Holy shit. Yeah, so having her get ripped in half like that was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's worth it. But
She
then
deserved more.
the scene right before it is dope too, where she gets stabbed and then it oozes out and opens the floor so that she can come in. I was like, that's pretty fucking dope. But before that though, she's basically being like, you guys are all gonna fucking burn, like this is stupid, like why are you guys doing this shit? And then it has her right in front of the image of the witch burning and like all the townspeople surrounding them. So I was like, this is a great shot. And then pretty much all hell breaks loose after that, and then fucking all of them just get turned into mincemeat because of the fucking barbed wire. I was like, yeah, this is dope.
The only thing that holds the scene back is the fact that it's like a bed. It's just
I wish the monster design was cooler. I wish it was so much cooler.
This is your finale. This is your boss monster.
Yeah, put her in Iron Maiden or something.
Ooh,
I don't know, like something cooler.
You know what I would have loved to see is Alessa like drawn up as like Jesus on the cross, have like a cross of barbed wires, because essentially she was made into a martyr.
Or just being held up in like a T pose.
Yeah,
that would work.
I feel like barbed wire is very Christ-esque.
Yeah.
He had that thorny crown, you know. Might as well have been barbed wire.
Anything but a tent or a bed.
Oh my god, dude. I can't believe the whole bed came up. That just looked awkward. It felt like a kid's cartoon when shit's like floating.
True. It's like she's in God mode. Why does she need a hospital?
You know, the thing is, like, when I say I would wish it was just the tent bed, I thought it was very creepy when the nurse looks inside and sees this charred person. So if it was just that and we don't see the body at all, but just the idea of what Alessa is, that's a little bit more for me.
She's just this weird fleshy version.
Or maybe like don't show her in that tent scene.
That's what I'm saying.
And then show her like charred body.
Yeah, there you go. That would have been dope.
I wish I could have seen a furnace scene. You know, because at the end of the game you do fight a boss in the bottom of the pits of the coal mines in a giant furnace. But my favorite scene, it's a very subtle one. It's when it's the ending of the movie. It really fucks me up when they sit in the same couch, her husband and Rose. Right. It almost makes me want to cry. Yeah. Because they've gone through hell,
literally.
both of them in different ways, in different realities, and you know that they could feel each other. You can't hear each other, but he feels her sitting down on the couch with him, and it's so subtle. It was one of those moments where because this is one of the first horror movies I watched, where it's like ow, horror movies could just end on a bad note.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel like shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, a lot of horror movies, like, you're expecting everyone to die, but this is just like, it gives you a glimmer of hope, and there's just a
Right.
bummer ending.
It's like you thought this was going to be a
Right.
happy ending.
They go
but-
back into their fancy ass house and it's still ash.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
they're stuck in this.
Yeah.
One thing. So at the very end, she's like telling her daughter not to open her eyes, or else like Alessa will get in, and
Yeah.
she does the worst job of covering her daughter. Like she does.
Yeah,
like,
she does the whole open hand
the
thing.
thing you do when you're gonna peek.
Yeah.
And her daughter peeks, and Alessa like goes into her or something. And I'm like, if she hadn't done that, would they have been able to leave? Or like,
I
would they
think
have-
so.
Okay.
I honestly
If
think
that's the case, then shame on the mom for doing the.
Yeah.
Just cover your eyes a little bit.
I honestly think that Alessa was really just trying to get the other half so she could carry out the revenge plot. And since she got it, she was able to do it. But because she peeked, she let it in, you're now stuck in the Alessa world.
Yeah.
And because of that, you're not able to see your dad anymore. And so that's why I feel like my favorite scene is just they're in the same couch. I mean, it hurts. It hurts to watch that because they're right there, but they can't fucking see each other. So
Well, if it makes you feel any better, in the horrible sequel, they managed to get the daughter out.
Yeah.
The wife is still in there. I believe the dad willingly goes into the world at the
Oh,
end of the
shit.
movie to like find his wife. But yeah, the plot of the second one, through loose writing, Alessa, Sharon.
Yeah.
Alessa, yeah.
Sharon!
Yeah, Sharon Alessa gets out of that in-between world, and then some cult tries to hunt her down, and things
Fuck.
happen.
Okay, I just gotta say, was I the only one that was thinking of Ozzy Osbourne every time that Rose was yelling, Sharon?
Yeah, it's one of those ruined
Down the
names.
street.
Yep, definitely.
That's like her only dialogue for like the first few scenes.
Yeah.
She just says, Sharon! Sharon! Like every other scene.
okay, so what would you guys rate these films then, or the film itself?
I'd probably give it like 7.5. Like it's still pretty good. I think the beginning of it had some like I think we talked about it too, where it's like just take down the sign, like weird things you could punch through the holes of the story, where you're like, what the hell?
But nothing that weighs it down.
Yeah,
too
it's not
much,
going to be
yeah.
crazy heavy where you can't enjoy it. And I liked a lot of the visuals that you're having in it. Huge metaphors for what we discussed earlier. So I think it did a good job of that.
I'd probably give this movie 7.5 to an 8. I found it really enjoyable. Like, it was, I wouldn't necessarily say easy to watch, but I was engaged the whole time I was watching it. I feel like I should go back and play the video games because I think there's a lot of story and dialogue that I've missed out on, obviously. But no, overall, this is a very enjoyable movie. Interesting plot, interesting characters. I wouldn't necessarily say character development, but you don't really look for that in horror movies, do you?
No.
Go watch it if you haven't yet.
I'll give this movie an 8. I think the shots, like the cinematography and the set design, pay homage to the video game really well. Obviously, it doesn't hit beat for beat, but it does its own thing that's very interesting and unique. I want to play the game again. And that's if a movie can make me do that, then it succeeded.
I'll give this movie a 7.5 because I think that if you were a fan of the Silent Hill games, there's a lot of good stuff in here for you. Like, there's a lot of good references that are there, and like a lot of them seem to be meaningful as well, which is what I think was indicative of the Silent Hill games in the first place, is that the monsters, it all meant something. So the movie does a really good job at that. The setting looks really good. I think there might be a couple questionable dialogue writing errors, which is why I'm so why it kind of loses a few points with me, I suppose. But other than that, I did enjoy the sets and everything else that about it, though. It was a lot. There's a lot here to unpack.
Yeah, I think it's 7.5. Maybe 7.4 because there's no Death Note, but
Hey.
but
Oh.
yeah, 7.5. You could tell the director wanted to make this movie and cared about the game series and wanted to do a good job. Also, we had mentioned all of the music is from the
Oh,
the game.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, except for Ring of Fire, which
Yeah.
randomly plays. But yeah, every other piece of music is from the game series, and it really added to the atmosphere.
I didn't notice it very much, which means it did its job.
Right.
It was very well placed for each scene.
If you haven't checked out the Silent Hill soundtrack, you should, because it's really well done.
All right. Hell yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it. I guess I'll give the outro
Go
then.
for it.
We are bringing down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media.
Yeah.
You can check us out on all our social medias. We got the Twitters, the Facebooks, and the Instagrams. You could check out our merch. We have a Teespring where we have hats as well as t-shirts.
Woo!
We also have our Patreon where you can subscribe for $2 a month and you could recommend a piece of horror media to us. Shout out to our newest patron, Ray. We love you. Thank you.
Hey.
Also to Michaela.
Michaela.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Michaela, what's up?
Hey. Anyways, that's all for the promotions. Walk us on out of here, Mitch.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
I'm Jonathan.
Now it's Bronson again.
Thank you so much.
Hey.